Hello. So, we are here on Christmas Eve, or, more, pertinently, Festivus. I'm recording this on December 23rd, and, yeah, it's a Festivus miracle. It's another episode of DanPlays. So I picked out, given the holiday, a holiday-themed game, of which on the NES, I can't really think of any others other than, I guess, Home Alone 2. So yeah, slim pickings. But yeah, I'm ready to go. I've got my Christmas vacation sweatshirt. Merry Christmas, shitter's full. This actually fits again for the first time in a few years. Yeah, I feel like it could be a little bit more festive. Yeah, maybe this will help. There we go. Do one of these. All right. Yeah. All right. I'm in the spirit, I think. So yeah. Anyway, Home Alone on NES. 91 was the game. I think the movie was the previous year, if I remember right. One of the classic holiday movies, certainly for my generation. I remember seeing it first run. I was in 90. In 90, I was 7 years old. Would have been 8 when this game came out. Yeah, that was, I think, one of the 2 busiest movie theaters I remember, not even just as a kid, ever being in, was Home Alone, and around the same time, not too long, probably afterwards, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, the first one. That one was so busy, I actually had to, me and my friend that I went with, and we went with our moms, they oversold the theater so much that we actually had to sit on our mom's laps at, 7 years old for that, too. Maybe that was before Home Alone, actually. But, yeah, anyway, smash hit it was at the time. Still one of the most memorable Christmas movies, I would say. One of my favorites, my favorite is, and I know it's a cliche, but my favorite is A Christmas Story. I will gladly watch the 24-hour marathon, given half a chance. Probably number 2, and it's a close number 2, was Christmas Vacation. I would say Home Alone is probably my number 3 favorite Christmas movie. Certainly my number 3 most nostalgic Christmas movie, or one of my 3 most nostalgic, along with those other 2. As far as the game, it's not so great. So this could be a very short video, not even necessarily because of the game's quality, but just because of the setup. Basically the premise, and it's not a bad premise for a game. It's basically a hide-and-seek game where you have to last 20 minutes in the house escaping the burglars before the cops show up, and then automatically at the 20-minute mark, if you're still going, the game ends. You have various traps you can use to slow them down, and that's where it almost feels like this is maybe a little bit unfinished. I don't know, because the traps, there's like a little icon, you'll see when we start playing, there's a little icon with the, like a picture of the tarantula or the micro machines or whatever, and when the burglars walk on it, they kind of just collapse into themselves and are stunned for a few seconds, but there aren't like special animations for the traps. It's like you're literally picking up a picture of them and setting them down. So I actually do wonder if this was a bit of a rush job. If it was released maybe a little unfinished. There's also some control issues. It's not by any means the worst game on the system. It's not like Where's Waldo or anything like that, but it's, I would say, not one of the better ones. And I remember Macaulay Culkin, I think it wasn't in the Angry Video Game Nerd episode he appeared in, but when he did that, he did, I think it was like James and Mike Mondays, with James Rolfe and Mike Matei, out of character, just playing other Home Alone games that were not featured in the episode, and just kind of talking casually about them, and Macaulay Culkin made the point that every kid at this time, every kid that had a Nintendo or Sega Genesis or whatever system Home Alone games came out on, every kid that had one of those systems dreamed of themselves, I certainly did, dreamed of themselves being in their own video game, and he was like the one kid that actually got to do that, and got to have that experience. And the problem was, pretty much all the games they put him in were just completely god-awful. So it's like, what would happen if you sold your soul to the devil to be able to be in your own video game? But yeah, anyway, as far as who made this, that's where it gets interesting. It's released by THQ. I don't know if it's the first game THQ put out. It's very early in their history, and early in their history, THQ was known for some pretty bad stuff. They got better by the time they eventually got like the WWE license and stuff like that, but that was, you know, a few decades later. But like, say, Acclaim or LJN, companies like those, they were a publisher. They didn't develop anything in-house, to my knowledge. Just like, I don't think Acclaim did. Certainly LJN didn't do any in-house development. They would farm out their games to smaller developers. And that's, again, where this gets interesting, because you can see, you probably noticed it already on the title, the credit screen here. The developer for this game is Bethesda Softworks. So a little no-name company that certainly would never go anywhere. Well, at least until they started making the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games, at least Fallout after Fallout, starting with Fallout 3. So yeah, Juggernaut series they eventually went on to. So yeah, next time you're playing the millionth and first reissue of Skyrim, just thank the parents of disappointed kids that spent money on this game back in 1991. You know, it's because of them that you're playing Elder Scrolls again, or Fallout, or, you know, any of the other stuff they do nowadays. So anyway, let's get into it. I should mention, I've never once beaten this game. I know it can be done. I've seen it done. There's a good short for them, but good you can beat video games episode that shows you how to do it, and I've tried to do it using the strategies from that video, and I've still never once actually won this. I've never lasted all 20 minutes, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to say I'll give myself 3 chances, up to 3 chances. If I actually manage to win it before that, we can stop. If not, I'll try 3 times, and you know, just however it goes, it goes. Alright, so we'll push start, finally. I'll shut up and we can actually start playing. So there are hiding spots. One thing that is kind of neat is that the weapons, the various traps, do have different power levels. Like the chandeliers are the most powerful. I think the heat coil from the movie that was put on the door is the second most powerful, along with the micro machines, maybe. So you can see we actually trapped Harry there. We'll get him with the micro machines too. It's not a bad concept for a game. I will say that. Like, this has potential. If it was fully explored, I think it could actually end up being a good game. It's kind of like a couple years ago I did Motor City Patrol, and, like, there's the bones of a good game there. Like, it's not good, but there's enough interesting ideas that if it was developed a little bit further, maybe it could have been something special. So there's a heat coil out here. I was thinking that was in the kitchen. This is the biggest issue with the controls, is the stairs. It's very hard to get Kevin to go up and down the stairs. And there is actually a strategy that involves you kind of hanging out in the basement, kind of hiding down there. See, I kind of cornered myself here. Most of the traps you can at least get a couple of uses out of. And there are a lot of them scattered around the house. I don't think Harry came outside there. Yeah, unfortunately there's no, like... I mean, I guess in the premise of the game he's already called the cops. But there isn't, like, a phone in the treehouse. Oddly enough, there seem to be 2 different versions of the game, too. This version obviously doesn't have it, but the other version of the game has Kevin himself, like a very horrifying 8-bit rendition of Kevin showing up on this screen where it says, "Oh no." That's the game over screen. So that's the first attempt right there, anyway. Already burned through one of them. Alright, let's try it again. If the video runs too short, I might even, you know, expand it to more attempts than 3. We'll see what happens. So we should actually try to get the chandeliers to come down, and I forget how to do that. Okay, yeah, you have to push. I'm actually not sure if it's just A or if it's down in A when you're standing over them. I'm over here, you big horse's ass. I think that's one secret to a good Christmas movie or a good Christmas special. There has to be a small child swearing in it somewhere. You know, you have I'm over here, you big horse's ass, in Home Alone. You have in Christmas Vacation, shitting bricks. Sorry, shitting rocks. Even like the first episode of The Simpsons, the Christmas special. There's I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you? So yeah, I think that's one of the secrets. You have to have a small child swearing somewhere in your Christmas production. Oh no, that was caught without any traps in hand. I think you can carry 3 at a time. This might be a real short video. Because again, it's a 20-minute timer, and you have to last that full 20 minutes to actually win. And again, I've never once done it. The burglars always will move faster than you, too. So again, I've said it a few times already, I think there's a good game in here. I'm trying to remember where the hiding spots are. I think there is one in the attic. There is actually a map. I guess you can't use it when you're on the ladder. But if you push start, there is a map that shows where the burglars are. I know you can hide in the Christmas tree, and I think one of the beds upstairs you can hide in. Try to get the chandeliers down so we can potentially pick them up later. Was that Angry Video Game Nerd, or was that another video where... So somebody, I think it was the nerd, but maybe not. Somebody pointed out that his walk cycle looks like he has, looks like he's shoving cookies in his mouth. Alright, so yeah, somebody's on the attic level with me. On ground level? No. Let's see if we can go down to the basement and maybe hide out there for a little while. Oh, these controls on the stairs are terrible. There we go. I think he's still knocked out, so we'll see if he follows me after this. There's the furnace. Hello, Kevin! Yeah, I think you can hide in one of these. We're doing more than 3 attempts, because that's already 3. Yeah, I think there's a pile of junk in the basement that you can hide in. Maybe it will only let you drop the chandeliers if you don't have a full inventory. Maybe that's why they weren't dropping that last time. Let's try it with only 2 items in hand. That must be it. That must be it, that they don't drop if you have full items already. It actually shows the, I think it puts activated traps. on the map too. Like those chandeliers, actually I don't think they are considered active when you just drop them. I think you have to pick them up and put them down again, so I don't know. Yeah, see, like here too, I'm trying to... Yeah. I was trying to get into the kitchen, but it wanted me to keep going down the stairs. It's like it locks you onto the stairs once you're finally on them. Getting onto them is a trick in and of itself. I guess that's Buzz's room with the blue stars wallpaper. I don't remember, did he have blue star wallpaper in the movie? I'll probably be watching it at some point in the next couple of days. Again, I'm recording this on December 23rd. I'll have to try to remember to look out for that. I'm sure it probably doesn't. It's probably just, you know, a random choice made in the game. Wow, that's about the best I've ever done the controls on those stairs. There's nobody already in the basement, right? Well, now nobody's on the map. I'm not even on the map. Or I guess I am. I guess Kevin is the green line in the basement. Yeah, again, I don't remember what pile of junk you can hide in down here. I think you can. I think there is a hiding spot here. Somewhere. There it is. That box right there. Alright, so we can at least burn up some of the clock. You have to hold up to hide in a hiding spot, by the way. I should probably put a trap down. Like there. And I'm gonna grab the nails. Oh yeah, that's actually a known glitch, where if you go to the back wall, he moonwalks. So I don't know if you go in the hide. Yeah, if a burglar's on screen with you when you go in a hiding spot, the hiding spot doesn't work. In that case, I mean, maybe it doesn't work to begin with, but given how janky this game is, so yeah, that bed is actually a hiding spot too. I think the micro machines are one of the better traps. The chandeliers are the best ones, but I think the micro machines are like the second tier along with the heat coil. And I think there's a hiding spot up here too. I thought it was the bed, but apparently not. You see, the map doesn't seem to always work. Like here, it has the 4 chandeliers on it for some reason. And it has, I think, 1 burglar. But the other one's not on the map for some reason. I don't know where he is. There he is. I think that's Harry in the... Yeah, Marvis in green. He's obviously the taller one. That's Daniel Stern. You can see how much faster they move than you do. So we're just over 1 minute in, by the way. Just pointing that out. Let's grip one of these chandeliers. Nope, full inventory, I guess. The Home Alone game that was on Game Boy for Home Alone 1, I remember kind of liking that one, actually. Maybe I should have played that one instead. I don't remember who made that one. It was released by THQ, but it was a different game than this one. I think maybe the Super Nintendo Home Alone 1 game was the same as the Game Boy one, or, you know, a version of it. I remember that one being kind of okay. The Home Alone 2 games, and they were, like, you know, versions of the same on each system, they were not good. But yeah, the one on Game Boy I remember kind of liking, actually. I'd have to revisit it. Maybe I don't have the same opinion now. It's kind of... It's always weird when it's like multiple versions of, you know, or not multiple versions, but different games with the same licensed property, and like some will be terrible, some will be actually good. I'm thinking offhand of Bill and Ted. I mean, the Bill and Ted NES game is notoriously terrible. But there's one on Game Boy. It's Bill and Ted's Excellent Game Boy Adventure. The one on NES was Excellent Video Game Adventure, but the Excellent Game Boy Adventure Bill and Ted game, it's completely different. It's like kind of a puzzle game, kind of in the vein of little bit, maybe, like the format. It's more of a puzzler, but it's kind of reminiscent visually of games like Joust or the original Mario Brothers or stuff like that. It's actually pretty decent too. So yeah, the Game Boy Bill and Ted game, if you're just, you know, if you see that one out in the wild when you're game hunting and you see Bill and Ted on Game Boy, don't be thrown off by that because of the NES game. Get the Game Boy game because it's actually pretty good. I haven't played it in a long time, of course, but yeah, it's actually a good one. Maybe I'll do that as a show sometime. Jeez, now they're both after me. I don't remember where the hiding spot in the attic is. I think that kind of tweeting sound when they hit a trap, it's very similar to a sound effect in, I'm thinking, Caveman games, which was Data East. I don't think it has any connection to anybody. I got hung up on the step there. Yeah, let's give it one or two more tries. But yeah, that bird tweeting sound effect when they hit the traps. Very similar effect in the clubbing event in Caveman games when you hit the like overhead club smash. I don't know if they stole the sound effect or what, because again, I don't know that there's any connection between the creators of this game, the developers at Bethesda at that point, and I don't know that any of them had previously worked for Data East on Caveman games, but I'll have to do one of those kind of games sometime too. Caveman games, California games, of course. California games was like ubiquitous. Like everybody, for some reason, everybody I knew had California games in their collection as a kid. And nobody bought it new. That was the weirdest part. Like, I mean, obviously somebody had to buy California games new, because, you know, copies ended up in the used sections of stores. But who was buying them? Because everybody I knew that had California games, well, everybody I knew that had an NES had it. I think literally everybody. And nobody had bought it new. They'd always bought it used. My copy was a used copy too. And California games, it's one of those games where it's not a bad game at all. It's not a great game, but it's not a bad game. But it's a memorable game, definitely memorable. It was like, I shouldn't talk about it too much, I guess, in case I do it as an episode. But yeah, I always think of the Frisbee event, the disc throwing event. We always had the joke that it was supposed to be like a guy and a girl, but the girl, the way she was drawn, she looked like his mom. So that was always the joke, that like she would die, she'd like just dive after the disc and like wipe out on the ground. And we'd always joke, you know, oh, your mom, looks like your mom got hurt there. Alright, let's see if we can get that hiding place to work. We'll put out the... Actually, I should put it before the before the hiding spot. So we'll grab a couple traps so we have a full inventory. The heating coil, I think, is one of the stronger traps that keeps them down the longest, like the second tier after the chandeliers, anyway. So in theory, we could burn up some time. I don't think either of them are in the... Maybe the burglars don't show up on the map at all. Maybe those all are just the activated traps. This is 2.5 minutes in. I almost feel like, you know, if the time limit was shorter, that might improve the game too. I don't know. Like maybe 10 minutes instead of 20. Like, I mean, 10 minutes doesn't sound like much of an NES game. 20 minutes doesn't either, really. But, still. For what they were doing here, I almost feel like a shorter time limit would have been better. There's Harry rooting around in the kitchen. Maybe you'll find the plane ticket in the garbage. There goes Marv. Wonder if he's even going to want to come down to the basement since he's afraid of the dark. No, I'm not. Not. You are so. See, you can't use your map when you're in the hiding spot. And I don't want to pop out and use it in case, you know, one of the burglars is already in the basement. Well, we almost got to the 5-minute mark anyway. You know what would be cool is if there was like a bonus round if you lasted all 20 minutes. If there was like a bonus round where you got to play as Old Man Marley and, you know, chase the burglars. Kind of like a, you know, Pac-Man taking a power pill. Like, you know, you get a powered up version of the character to play as. You get Old Man Marley and you get to chase the burglars around with the snow shovel. Actually, that could have even been like a bonus power-up, like you find, you know, some item that calls Old Man Marley and he starts chasing the burglars, so you get a break for, you know, it would be like a temporary power-up, but kind of a temporary invincibility thing. So I'm just going to hold up here and stay in the hiding spot and see if he goes away after he wakes up. Yeah, see, I don't know if the hiding spots actually even do anything. Alright, let's, well, we're almost at a half hour anyway. That's something. I actually do have another game that I might do a separate video on, but, you know, in the same sitting, record a second video, in case this one runs short. I think one more try will be enough for this. Again, I know that this can be done. I think there's, if I remember the You Can Beat Video Games video, right, I think there's even, like, kind of a path you can move around the house that keeps you away from the burglars, but the burglars aren't, like, they don't have a pre-programmed path. They're actually kind of adaptive, which is kind of advanced for AI in an NES game. I mean, it's kind of, in a weird way, it's kind of a forerunner of, you know, the AI that was used by Bethesda later in Morrowind or Oblivion or Skyrim, or I know those are not even the first Elder Scrolls games. There's Arena and Daggerfall before that, which I admit I've never played those two, but yeah, you know, like the some of the AI ideas that Bethesda would use in their, like, you know, blockbuster modern games. Skyrims, your Fallout 3s, your New Vegases, etc. In a way, some of them come back to Home Alone on NES. They actually did do a few other NES games, too. I'm trying to remember. Believe it or not, I think one of them, I'm pretty sure, is actually that god-awful Where's Waldo game. Which, why did that even exist? Like, you know, the graphics couldn't really substitute for the drawings in the books. And I'm sure the game was way more expensive than the books anyway, so why wouldn't you just buy like 2 or 3 of the books instead of the NES game of Where's Waldo? You'd have a better experience. Anyway, I'm pretty sure Bethesda did that too. And I do have that one. I think there were at least 2 others, and I don't have either of those, so I don't know how they are. There's a Wayne Gretzky hockey game that I believe they did. I think I've heard that one's bad, but I don't want to say for sure because I don't remember for sure what I've heard about it, and I've never played it. I'm sure it's not expensive, so maybe I'll pick it up at some point. I mean, the NES is like the system I consciously collect for, that I, you know, am going for a complete collection of, which I'm sure I'll never have a complete collection, but that's the idea anyway. So yeah, I'm sure I'll eventually get that. I don't think... being a sports game, I doubt it's expensive, but you never know. And I think there was another one, Puzznic, I think, which I assume was a puzzle game. And I've never played that either. I don't know how that is. I don't think I've really even heard any reviews of it or anything offhand. Yeah, Home Alone and, well, I guess the Wayne Gretzky game would be technically a licensed property, too. But yeah, I like their big licensed properties were the Home Alone game and the Where's Waldo game, and they didn't go well. Although, again, I will somewhat defend this one for having at least a couple of good ideas in it, and, you know, like, I think I've said it before, but I think this has the bones of a good game in it. If it was developed further, it could have been good. It's not a bad concept, the hide-and-seek concept. I don't know, is there anything else like that on the NES? There was like, what was it, Sneak and Peek? That was going back to the Atari 2600, but there was Sneak and Peek, which was like a hide-and-seek game. But, yeah, I mean, the concept could be made to be good. I know I'm just kind of repeating myself at this point, since there's not a whole lot else to talk about unless we just start quoting the movie, but... Actually doing fairly decent on this run so far, until I did that. Alright, got him off the gutter. Oh, jeez. There we go. When you get cornered like that, you can get out of it if you have 2 traps and play them both. Of course, the downside of that is that if you lay 2 traps, you're down to 1 in your inventory, and that's assuming you had a full inventory to begin with. Oh, we did get the spider on the stairs. I think the micro machines I'm not able to pick up anymore. That's a bummer. Because those are one of the better traps. They had the micro machines on the stairs, that's, you know, and the spider near the stairs, that's right out of the movie. And what's the deal with the TV being a trap? That wasn't used in, I don't remember him using the TV as a trap. And, well, I guess, like, the TV itself wasn't a trap in the movie, but he did use the audio on the TV to scare off the pizza guy, and then later, like, that was the test run, and later he you know, played Angels with Filthy Souls, the fictional movie. He played the same scene to scare Marv off. But yeah, just having the TV as a trap unto itself is, well, that doesn't make sense. He didn't smash it over anybody's head like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer or anything. That's the scariest fictional movie that I've seen, I think. Like, if I had to pick the scariest movie I've ever seen, scariest movie I've ever seen probably is Triumph of the Will. You know, the Nazi propaganda movie. But that's, well, I guess you could argue that it is technically a fictional movie in some respects, you know. It's a whole other thing to get into, but, you know, analyzing the message it was trying to portray versus the reality. But it was, strictly speaking, a documentary. But yeah, the scariest fictional narrative movie I've seen, I would have to pick Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, because it's so bleak, man. It's, like, just so bleak, there's, like, no redemption for anyone in it. Like, even you kind of think Henry himself might be redeemable when he says he thinks he might be in love with the girl too, but then how it ends, there's no redemption there. I won't spoil it, but yeah, it's so real the way it's filmed. Like, it feels extremely realistic. The performances were great. Michael Rooker, later of The Walking Dead, was Henry himself, and yeah, it's just so, like, it's not even the most graphic movie, but it just feels so raw and visceral. And so that's a good topic to talk about when we're playing a game based on a Christmas movie, right? A beloved holiday classic, and we're talking about Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. We are doing good on this run, though. We're actually 2.5 minutes away from halftime, at least. I don't remember where I've said this the last few times we've gone through the attic, but yeah, I don't remember where the hiding spot in the attic is. If there is one. Maybe there's not one, and I'm misremembering, but I already made the I'm over here, you big horse's ass reference. That would have been a good place for it, though. Ooh. I think the traps, when you reuse them, I think they gradually get less and less powerful, or maybe they just get less powerful as the game's timer runs. And I think I blocked off the, like, for some reason it won't let me, I don't think, pick up those micro machines again. After a few uses, the traps do disappear. Some of them have longer times than others. I had a feeling Marv was going to be popping out there. Alright, let's see if we can get one of the chandeliers here. If I even have room in my inventory. Yes, I do. Yeah, we're actually almost at halftime, surprisingly. We got the spider back. Oh, I did get the micro machines, and he walked right past the trap. Ah! Alright, I think I've had enough of this one. Yeah, we covered a lot of ground. You know, Home Alone, Holiday Spirit, Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, Triumph of the Will. We covered all bases here, I think. So I am actually going to record another game. But we'll stop this video for now. So it'll be a double feature. I don't think I'll post them both tonight. I'll probably, you know, space them out a little bit. Like, maybe I'll time the release of an other game to release on Christmas or even the day after. And I don't know if I'll have time, but I did want to do a board game. I have... Speaking of serial killers, I've done some videos in the past on Final Girl. I haven't done any in a long time, any board game videos, but Final Girl, the single-player horror game, there's a Christmas expansion. So if I don't do it before Christmas, I'll do that sometime soon, like, you know, maybe next Monday or Tuesday if I don't get to it tomorrow. But I'll try to do it tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, they have a Christmas expansion where you're trying to escape the North Pole that's been kind of taken over by Krampus. So you can try to rescue Santa if that event comes up, and try to rescue the elves, and I think there's even a BB gun from Christmas Story as one of the weapons you can pick up. It's a lot of fun. I haven't played it since last year, but and I never did a video on it. But I'll try to do a gameplay video of that. But yeah, I will do another game. You'll see what it is, obviously, once it's posted. And anyway, hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you shortly for another game and some other stuff too. Have a good night or whatever.